What is up, y'all? I'm Benjamin Outdoors, and this is my channel. So today's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm actually going to pick up a 2006 CBR1000, like my previous one that I fixed up a few years ago, except this one has a crazy backstory. So the lady's husband actually ended up passing away on this thing a few years back, I think 2016, and a lady pulled out in front of him, and she apparently had no remorse for the situation. At the scene, she had no remorse, which is so screwed up, in my opinion. This bike has so much backstory. The frame is useless. I mean, it's salvaged. But she actually saw my YouTube channel and saw that I repaired bikes, and she said she wanted nothing more just to see it in its former glory. So even though it's basically just a parts bike, which is what I was gonna buy it for before I knew the story, I'm gonna fix it anyway. Basically, the only thing that's usable on it is the engine, forks, and front wheel, maybe. So we're gonna get it today. I'm gonna try to basically inspect it as much as I can, figure out all the parts I need. I might have a subscriber in Colorado that has most of the parts that I need, so I might have him freight those to me, and we'll go from there. But this is gonna be a long project too. And hopefully I can get the Gixxer 1000 done soon too. So anyway, let's go pick it up. I can't wait to have my truck fixed up. It's a very beautiful part of Auburndale. Got a lake on that side, a lake on this side, nice curvy road, some beautiful trees. So we're here. Here she blows. So it's got serious frame damage. It's got a thin exhaust, missing handlebar, obviously jacked up rim. I mean, this is most definitely just a parts bike, unfortunately, but I'm gonna try to bring it back to its former glory. And I'll actually let her talk if you like. So what's the story on this?
Okay, so my husband, Joshua Becker, on the morning of January 12th was killed on this bike. He was on his way to a new job. He was only 26 years old, and he had left that morning. Goodness, it is so much. We had two daughters. He was on his way to his very first day of a new job. I can't even think of the name of the job. It was doing, I want to say fiberglassing, with the union. And a woman pulled out in front of him, out of nowhere. This happened in January 12th of 2016. So I've held on to this cycle for 5 years. Because on his deathbed, I promised him that I would do something to fight for motorcycle awareness. I've had a lot of backlash from my family over 5 years, a lot of stress and backlash as to why am I holding on to this cycle? You're doing nothing but hurting yourself, and nobody understands really until you've been in that kind of scenario or situation, really why someone like myself, a spouse, would hold on to a bike, because I understood, me of all people, I understand passion, and cyclists are really passionate about what they do, and he loved to ride. He bought the cycle August of 2015, and he was killed 5 months later. But if there was one thing he would tell me every single time he hopped on this bike after he bought it, was just that he felt free. Every time he was on it, he felt free, and it was just, there was always so much passion in his voice, and He was always smiling and laughing. And it's like, how can you, in my mind, how can you take a negative from seeing so much joy from the happiness that something brings somebody? So the fact that a lot of negativity is brought around cyclists, but yet he was killed by another person because she was irresponsible.
And you said she saw him.
She saw him. It's all in the newspapers here in Polk County. He had a front page Sunday article, which I gave you a copy of the newspaper. I have copies of it. His name's Joshua Becker. And they charged her with a failure to yield, which has...
And she saw him and still pulled out.
She admitted at the scene, yeah, I saw him and I just thought I could make it. And they gave her a failure to yield. And that just befuddled me, even to this day, that the laws, that there needs to be law reform for motorcyclists that are killed whenever the driver is at fault. And that was a big reason for me holding on to this bike, because I've waited. So that was a big thing. He was killed January 12th. Our oldest daughter, Mackenzie, her birthday's January 11th. He was killed the day after her birthday. Our youngest daughter, Madeline, her birthday's January 14th. So every single year, the week of their birthdays is synonymous with their dad's death. Honestly, and this sounds really bad, but in 3 years, my children have not had a formal birthday party since their dad has been killed. Because every year that week comes around, I can't juggle if I'm right or if I'm wrong to throw my kids a birthday party. From my understanding, the woman who killed him got her license revoked, I think 6 months, but she went back and fought that, I think, in the court system here in Polk County to get her license back, and with the judge. And I think that they did give her license back. And a 26-year-old man who was going to a brand new job to provide for his family. Like, it was really like no justice was served. I hired an attorney for a wrongful death suit. I did win the lawsuit, but in the state of Florida, apparently, whenever you file for a lawsuit for a wrongful death, you only get the limits of what the policyholder has. I literally received a bodily injury check. To this day, it's a slap in the face of $10,000 for my dead husband's body. But yet, the property damage, which is what's on their person, which would be the motorcycle itself, his wedding ring if it was damaged, his clothing, his helmet, the Joe Rocket jacket that he was wearing, because he was fully geared from top to bottom and expensive gearing. I won more for his property damage than his body itself that actually died in the middle of the road. He never even made it to a hospital.
His valuables were worth more than him.
Exactly.
According to the state and the insurance companies.
Exactly.
That's screwed up.
Thank you. That's what I've been trying to get someone to kind of agree with me for 5 years. Like,
and I think all of YouTube and all of the motorcyclists will definitely agree with you.
That stayed with me. I did a lot of soul searching, and just this bike has just traveled with me any place I've moved and left to, and I've held on to it. And I have fought family members who have judged me, and here we are. I believe I picked this bike up out of impound around at Winter Haven Police Department in August of 2016. But they were pretty hesitant or adamant that they didn't ever crank it. Whenever we got out to the impound yard, the bike cranked up. That right there was my sign. Because even the police officers were like, they were floored. Yeah. They were like, there's no way that this bike still would crank after that many months. And I was like, that's Josh.
Yeah.
That is my husband telling me that like it was a sign. And of course it doesn't crank anymore.
Yeah.
It hasn't cranked since then, but
Yeah.
that was around that was in like August of 2016. And
It's obviously got so much history, and I would love to, you know, fix it back up and try to get it
that's
restored to its former glory.
that is what I want. That's what I've wanted. I held on to it all this time. I had a kind of like a want and a dream to.
Yeah.
I know it's got some damage, but
If anyone can do it, I can do it.
yes, yes. I've seen your work, and it's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to see what comes of this. This is what I know. This is what he would want. I definitely know that this is what he would want. I still can't believe that somehow, like I can't believe that we ended up linking up somehow, that you contacted me. Whenever I had it took 5 years for me to post it. And I never even thought that somebody would, from like a YouTube community or channel, like would reach out, something like this. That never even crossed my mind. I knew in order to get I knew I wanted something somewhat big to get some sort of awareness as to the Florida laws. Because there's so many different laws in Florida, Polk County, that need to be changed, but you got to start somewhere, and
hopefully in a few months it'll be done.
yes, I can't wait. I really cannot wait. But at the same time, I'm just trying to tell this story.
Ooh, it's heavy. I'm gonna drag Finally get back on the road. I have never purchased a worse condition bike that I'm gonna at least rebuild. This is pretty rough. So I got the CBR1000 here to lay to rest for right now. And look at the beauty that's over here. C8, baby blue C8, along with all my crap boxes. So it's the end of the day. I got the CBR1000 in here, and I'm looking it over, and it's so bad. I mean, it is so bad. There is so many damaged parts on this thing. I mean, just look. So going from the front end, which is basically the best condition thing on the bike, it's got kind of the chrome on the inner fork tube is actually rusting in a few spots, which could obviously make it leak. And it's actually got a little fork oil right there. Don't know if the rotor is bent yet, but the slight rust is on both sides. As you can see, I mean, that's the surface breaking up, so that's imperfections on it, which means it might not seal properly, which could mean I need new forks. And there's also the damage on the top. Then it looks like the clutch actual master cylinder is okay, just needs a new reservoir, and maybe I can fix that. New levers, obviously new cosmetics completely. I mean, that's all jacked up. The right side is fine. I mean, actually the brake lever it's got nothing but no fluid or anything, I don't think, in it, but no top of the airbox, and which means no ECU. There's the ECU plugs. Now the valves actually look good down in there. It didn't have water or anything in it. I actually have the steering stabilizer. Some of that's in the truck still. There was a meth head that stole it for like a day. She was able to get it back. She knew exactly who stole it, so she was able to get it back, but the guy started taking everything apart, pulled all the motor mounts out, so there's no motor mounts. Even the swing arm is detached. It's kind of hanging on for dear life. So I'm gonna have to get all new mounts. Obviously, entire frame. It was obviously a bad wreck. I mean, just look at that rear rim. I'm assuming he had somebody pull out in front of him. I'm assuming it just flipped like that, and then boom, hit. The impact was like that. Destroyed the tank. It's all bent. This is the subframe's destroyed, and this is obviously where he sat. So it just crumpled it all, and it very hard to look at. But then I'm assuming the swing arm is probably jacked up too. No visual damage, but it's probably going to be jacked up. And obviously the rear rim needs a new rear rim. The motor looks like it's in good shape. There's no cracks, nothing like that. So I hope it's good. Obviously this is the most valuable thing. But everything else together is it's going to be so pricey. Like, I might have a subscriber in Colorado that might have almost all the parts that I need. Only problem is getting it shipped here is going to probably cost a fortune. And he's shipping basically an entire bike without the motor, so it's going to be a task. So there's also stuff missing too, like there's the fuel line that goes to the tank. I mean, there's, like I said, ECU missing. I got the strap holding in to make sure the motor doesn't fall out as I move it around, but man, this thing is just so jacked up. So I'm obviously fixing this up for sentimental reasons because, you know, it's not financially smart to do this really because it's so bad. It's basically just going to be dropping the motor in another bike. That's honestly what's going to be happening. Just piecing everything together. But she wants to see it all fixed up, so that's what I'm going to try to do. And then I'll hopefully get the jigsaw done here soon, but this is kind of just going to be in the works as well. So I'm about to strip this down. I got the frame completed, and so now I'm just going to strip it all the way down and get everything powder coated. But back to this. I hopefully have the parts here in a few weeks to basically finish it out. I'm going to strip it down in the next few days, give y'all a real in-depth look at everything, and we'll go from there. Until next time, y'all ride safe.